The views and opinions expressed on My Story Living with Lupus podcast represents each person's individual experience. By listening to this podcast or reading our blog, you agree not to use this podcast or blog as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or others. As always, consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. My Story Living with Lupus podcast is officially trademarked, all rights reserved. Thank you for joining me for another episode of My Story Living with Lupus. I'm your host, Susan Hendrix, and I'm so glad that you could join me on this Friday, March 6, 2020. Today's topic is all about alcohol and lupus. Now, I'm not talking about rubbing alcohol. I'm talking about the alcohol some of us consume. That's right. So you know what I want you to do from all the way from the United States to Saudi Arabia. That's right. Grab your cup of coffee, your cup of tea, and to those who are listening late at night, grab your favorite glass of wine and join the conversation right here on My Story Living with Lupus. The Charlie E. and Minnie P. Hendrix Foundation for Chronic Illness Awareness. See one, reach one, educate one to empower the masses, giving hope and empowering those who suffer from chronic illness. You can reach the foundation at 313-303-9217 or visit their website at https://cemphfoundation.com. This is a 501c3 organization. No one should live in lack. Well, thank you for joining me today on this Friday, March 6, 2020. Before we get started, I would like to wish 3 individuals a happy birthday. My brother Charles, happy birthday. His birthday is March 1st. I would like to wish my brother Bobby a happy birthday, a heavenly happy birthday. His birthday is March the 26th. And last but not least, I would like to wish my father, Charlie Hendrix, a happy heavenly birthday. His birthday is March the 11th. My father would have been 114 years young. That's right. 114. So let's get into alcohol and lupus. Now, I have never had alcohol before in my entire life. Now, I've asked people that I know, how does it taste? And they said it tastes good. And when they say smooth, I sit back and wonder, what do they mean by smooth? So I will, if I'm out, with a group of people, they know that I'll say, let me smell it. I just want to smell it just to see what it is that you guys say that it makes it taste smooth. I don't like the smell of alcohol. Now, growing up in our household, my parents didn't drink. And my brother, no one in my family drinks. But we had alcohol in the household for guests. And when my father said nobody touched that alcohol, we didn't think twice about it. We didn't touch it. Now, I used to sneak and smell it, and I sit and say to myself, oh, I don't see how anybody could drink this. The smell just made me sick to the stomach. But when alcohol and lupus come together, is there any effects to lupus when you drink alcohol? Now, we know for those of us who suffer from this debilitating illness, we understand that it's important to remain or to have a healthy lifestyle. But are there any problems with alcohol and lupus? Let's see what some state. First, the problem with alcohol is that it can have negative effects on everyone who drinks it. You can only have to wonder why people endure hangovers when clearly our body is sending a message that alcohol, to some, is bad for us. Unfortunately, if you suffer from lupus illness, then the effects of alcohol on the body can be worse than normal. Alcohol has detrimental effect on the immune system and is especially bad for the kidneys and liver, which are the organs that are responsible for repairing the damage left behind when an individual drinks alcohol. Also, alcohol can also react with many of the medications that you rely on to control the symptoms of lupus. And this can severely impact your body's ability to deal firstly with the alcohol, but more seriously with the long-term chronic afflictions of lupus. You are doing serious potential harm to your body if you drink too much alcohol. Alcohol can damage the immune system. The problem with alcohol is that it is an addictive chemical, but it is also toxic to the organs in the body and generally a poisonous, nasty substance. Alcohol is used as antifreeze. It is used as a disinfectant, and it is used as a solvent. Alcohol kills bacteria, germs, viruses, and human cells. Alcohol and lupus. The poor liver. Alcohol has a direct effect on the liver, which is the organ in the body responsible for fixing the problems that is caused by drinking. The liver cells are killed off in the millions in the attempt to metabolize alcohol. The resulting scar tissue left behind in the liver can turn into a permanent condition known as cirrhosis, and this can eventually be fatal. When we return, we'll talk about what negative side effects alcohol has on the body. So stay with me. If you would like to appear on an episode of My Story Living with Lupus, you can contact us at mystorylivingwithlupus@gmail.com. Also visit us on our Instagram page and also our website, My Story Living with Lupus. Ophthalmology Associates, PC, Drs. Berman and Dr. Zuckerbrod, treating diseases of the eye and eye surgery. You can reach them at 313-341-3450. As well as damaging the liver, alcohol has a negative effect on the kidneys, the heart, and the brain. These are vital organs of the body, and when damaged by alcohol, can be susceptible to ongoing damage from the immune system. Due to the ongoing susceptibility of the immune system caused by lupus, the potential exists for alcohol to increase the frequency of lupus flares and to cause more frequent bouts of this terrible illness. How does alcohol and lupus make the problem worse? There are two ways in which alcohol and lupus can make the symptoms worse: by triggering an autoimmune response which attacks the good cells in the body, by disrupting the normal operation of medication designed to control lupus. Now, Alcohol and lupus autoimmune response. Now, when alcohol is ingested into the body, the liver tries to metabolize the foreign matter by producing enzymes. These enzymes are designed to attack the foreign compounds and to break them down into smaller elements that are no longer harmful or poisonous to the body. The trouble with alcohol is that we tend to drink too much and the liver goes into overdrive to produce enough enzymes to fix the problem. When you have a weakened immune system due to lupus, the flood of toxins caused by drinking alcohol and the corresponding flood of enzymes can cause an overreaction within the immune system and an unintentional immune response with good cells getting attacked by mistake. This is exactly what sufferers of lupus needs to avoid. Hence, drinking alcohol is not recommended. Now, we all know when we mix alcohol and medication together, what can happen. But what about when you drink alcohol and mix lupus medication together? The medications used to control the symptoms of lupus are designed to regulate the immune system and to control the delicate balance between the organs and hormones in the body. When the balance of chemicals in the body is disrupted by drinking alcohol, the interaction between the organs and the natural chemicals can be overwhelmed by the flood of alcohol in the blood. Most of the medications that are commonly prescribed for a treatment of lupus have already an adverse side effect. But when you mix that with alcohol, it can cause headaches, nausea, and the sufferer can tend to become drunk and disoriented. Even medications that do not require a prescription can react with alcohol, such as ibuprofen, which is great for pain and inflammation, but makes the liver highly susceptible to even small doses of alcohol. Now, in particular, with most people with lupus, may be prescribed with non-steroid anti-inflammatory medications, which should not be mixed with alcohol. Basically, lupus and alcohol do not mix. Although it may be a difficult choice to make, the average individual who suffers from lupus will only make matters worse if they try to drink too much alcohol. Let me put it this way. There really is no safe amount of alcohol in this situation. And the problem with alcohol is that most people find it difficult to stop drinking before it's too late. But there are ways to learn how to avoid the alcohol trap. What does research state about influence of alcohol consumption and the risk of systemic lupus erythematosus among women in the Nurses Health Study Cohorts? Disclaimer. The content that you're about to hear is solely the responsibility of the authors and does not necessarily represent the views of the NIH, National Institute of Health, or My Story Living with Lupus podcast. The objective of this study: moderate alcohol consumption has inflammatory properties and is associated with reduced cardiovascular disease and rheumatoid arthritis risks. They investigated the association between alcohol consumption and systemic lupus erythematosus, better known as SLE. Risk among women followed in the Nurses Health Study Cohorts. The method of this study was they conducted a prospective cohort analysis among 204,055 women in NHS from 1980 to 2012 and NHS2 from 1989 to 2011, who were free of connective tissue disease and provided alcohol information at baseline. Alcohol consumption was assessed using semi-quantitative food frequency questionnaire every 2 to 4 years. The bottom line of this analysis, which is very long, and I will leave it in the link for you to read in your spare time, but the results among 90,728 women with 2.4 million person years of follow-up time in NHS identified 125 incident SLE cases occurring between 1980 to 2012. Now, in the NHS2 cohort, among 113,327 women with 2.2 million person years of follow-up, they identified 119 incident SLE cases between 1989 to 2011. Age-adjusted incident rates of SLE within categories of increasing daily alcohol consumption for NHS were 6.3, 6.1, and 3.6 per 100,000 person years, and for NHS2 were 5.9, 5.6, and 4.3 per 100,000 person years, respectively. Among 244 SLE cases identified, the overall incident rate for SLE was 5.3 per 100,000 person years, which is expected is slightly lower than recently reported incident rates of SLE among women in the U.S. due to our stringent case definition. Now, if you consume alcohol and you have SLE, I want to hear from you. And when I come back, I'm going to tell you how you can contact me to let me know or give your opinion on, do you believe that alcohol hurts you more if you have lupus? So stay with me, and I'm going to let you know how you can contact me. Okay, in this, in this study, the conclusion, they found a significant inverse association between moderate long-term alcohol consumption and SLE. However, the potential benefits of moderate alcohol consumption among premenopausal and postmenopausal women have to be weighed against the other possible health risks with cancer risk. Now, see, I'm leery about this one. I am. I don't know about this, but I want you to give me your opinion and hear how it works. For you to contact me, you, my listeners, can tap a link in my show notes to send me a message, no matter what device or browser you're using or which app you use to listen on. You can also click the button on my podcast Anchor profile. This will take you to a window where you can record a message up to 1 minute long. And then once you hit send, you're done. And I'll be notified every time you send me a message. So see, you can contact me. And I want you to. I want to interact with you. And I want you to give me your opinion on the information you heard today. Do you think it's okay to drink, but not obsessively? And you have this illness? Now, I'm just speaking for myself. I know for me, I go through too much with this illness. And I don't need to add an extra problem onto my plate. So for me, no alcohol. Like I stated before earlier, I never have had any type of alcohol in my life. And I'm 59. It never fazed me. The only thing I sit and wonder is I watch people and they say, oh, that goes down so smooth. And then I smell it and I say, the smell, it makes me sick. The smell makes me sick. But I want to hear your thoughts on this topic. You know how to get in contact with me. So let me know your thoughts. Before I go, I want to just tell you this. And this is coming from a place of concern and love. Why substitute one problem for another? If you have a problem with alcohol, I want to give you a toll-free number to call to seek help. It's Al-Anon. You can call 888-425-2666. Make sure you write that number down. If you feel like your problem has gone off to the deep end, seek professional qualified help. I hope that you found this informative, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I want you to have a most peaceful, positive, and oh so blessed weekend. I'm Susan Hendrix, your host for my story, Living with Lupus. I'll see you next week for another episode. opinions expressed on My Story Living with Lupus podcast represents each person's individual experience. By listening to this podcast or reading our blog, you agree not to use this podcast or blog as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or others. As always, consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. My Story Living with Lupus podcast is officially trademarked, all rights reserved.